Okay, we are going to make soup now. 2 lentil squash turmeric soup. First thing I have here is kombu. It's a sea vegetable. It comes dry. Okay? Take the sea vegetable, put it back in your soup pot where you're bringing the water up to a boil. We need to reconstitute the kombu so we can chop it up in little pieces and put it back in there. Why am I using kombu? Well, first of all, sea vegetables are the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. Really high in calcium, high in iron, high in protein, minerals and trace minerals and vitamins. They're really high in that. So a little bit goes a long way. We're using a 4-inch piece for a whole pot of soup. In particular, why I'm using the kombu is because it helps digest food, okay? It helps strengthen your intestines. Therefore, when you use beans or legumes, such as the lentils, it helps eliminate gas. Unfortunately, when many people eat high protein, high fiber foods in the form of beans or lentils, they get gas. That gas is actually a good thing, although it's unpleasant, because what's happening is you have stored up gook in your intestinal tracts. And that high fiber food goes in there and you have like pockets, and those pockets go and it produces gas. Eventually, if you eat enough high fiber food to clean out your intestinal tract, you will not have that gas anymore. Okay? But the kombu is fantastic for that, and if you want beautiful, luscious hair, kombu is your sea vegetable. It's high in keratin, K-E-R-T-I-N, which is the main hair protein, high in keratin. This soup calls for 2 different kinds of lentils. We got the green lentils, we got the red lentils, okay? Both of which are in the legume family. This is your protein. Protein is very important. Protein builds your muscles, make you strong. And what's the biggest muscle in your body?
The heart.
Your heart. Feeds and nurtures your heart. They are very high in fiber. Let's see, what else can I tell you about them? Help reduce serum cholesterol levels. They also have a lot of substances in them that are phytochemicals, which can inhibit cancer cells from multiplying. So they're great for that. Beans also feed and nurture your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are those little glands that sit on top of your kidneys back here. Most people don't even know what they are. But your adrenal glands help you deal with stress. So we get hit with so much stress all the time. And in order to be able to handle that stress and strengthen your adrenal glands, you need to eat beans. Beans is the food that feeds and nurtures your adrenal glands. The green lentils, everybody asks, well, what's the difference? They do have a slightly different flavor, but the green lentils will retain their shape. You will see them in the soup. The red lentils will lose their shape, and they'll create a thick broth for you. So I like a combination of the two. It's kind of fun to put them both in there together. We have a beautiful rapid boil, so I'm going to add my lentils in there. Let's take a look at the kombu. See, it only takes a few minutes for that kombu to get reconstituted. See how it's all soft now. This is an actual plant that grows in the ocean. You can see it's like a big leaf and they cut it up. Now, our ancestors ate sea vegetables on a regular basis all the time. We, however, are like, sea vegetables? What's that? I haven't heard of that. It was a food that they could harvest from the ocean and then they could dry it. And it would literally last forever. It will never go bad. So let's say, you're our ancient ancestors and you want a nutritious, dense food that is non-perishable and will last forever, that you can carry around in your little bag, and you can go on a walkabout, which back then walkabouts took anywhere from like 2 years to 10 years. And you could carry this food with you in your pack and it would never go bad. Chop it up in really small pieces and then put it right back in the soup pot. You're getting all the nutritional value of it and nobody's even going to know it's there. So your picky eaters, they won't even know it's there. Getting all the nutritional value. I like to start my soup with onions, because when you cook the onions, they create a beautiful sweet broth for you. So I put the onions in there. Here's a cooking technique for you. When you create a soup, you put one vegetable in there, wait for the water to come back up to a boil, then add the next vegetable, wait for the water to come back up to a boil, and then add the next vegetable. This seals in and locks in the individual flavor of all the individual vegetables. So your onions taste like onions, your carrots taste like carrots. If you put all the vegetables in there at once, you kind of got one flavor going on all at the same time. I got a nice rapid boil going, so we can throw the carrots in there now. Carrots are really good for your eyes, right? Now, I took this is interesting, I took butternut squash, beautiful butternut squash, a wonderful winter squash that's in season right now, yum. Naturally sweet to the taste, which feeds and nurtures your spleen, pancreas, and stomach. High in vitamin A and vitamin C, and winter squashes help boost your immunity too, so you can fight off like the colds that are starting to come up now. Normally I like chopping my squash in little cubes and putting in the soup, but instead I have grated it to give a different texture and smoothness to the soup. But also grating it, I've created a lot of surface to the vegetable, so the natural sweetness of the butternut squash is going to permeate the whole soup. We're going to have a beautiful, naturally sweet soup. So let's put the grated squash in there. It's also going to help thicken the soup. This is going to be a beautiful, thick soup. It's going to be delicious. And then last but not least, I have celery. Celery is a little known vegetable, but it's very, very good for you actually. It can significantly reduce high blood pressure. Has a really high water content, okay, so it helps flush the system out. They use it to treat things like gallstones, arthritis, and gout. I like to put it in soup. I think it gives it a beautiful color and a nice little flavor too. I like that. We are not at a boil yet, so I'm going to wait for it to come up to a boil before I add this. Now, once all the vegetables in there and it's boiling, you reduce it to a simmer, which is a low temperature. Put a lid on it and let it cook for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. I forgot the garlic.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we'll add the garlic and the celery, right, to make sure we get all that in there. And then we're going to let it cook for like 15-20 minutes. And then we're going to add the seasoning. So let's go on a break, and we'll let the soup cook.